Don't even know who this guy is. Wearing a fez, just walking down the street, and you don't stop asking that question like, yo, who are you? You know what I mean? Like, how many people actually, you know what I mean, like, see things out of the matrix? Like, you might see, you know, like a Buddhist or something, wearing like their everything. And you might stop and say, oh, so you're a Buddhist, like, tell me something. Like, give me some info. Like, you're a Buddhist, like, you know, the man with the little turban who he was wearing that. That's his custom. Right? Like, everybody's been told. Everybody knows, except this jurisdiction of North America. And they're the biggest deniers of it also. And that's not even coming from me. That's coming from these Negro Society people that are going to elect somebody into membership into their thing. That's from another country. Like, this is the audacity that these people have in that status. This is just the Negro people we're talking about now. We're not talking about the black people. We're not talking about the colored people. We're not talking about the Pan-Africans, the Africans, the Rastafarians, whatever. We're talking about the Negro people, the slave mentality people, right? So, the Negro people know about the Moors. Is the point that I'm trying to make. The people who say, I'm Negro, and they stand that, and they want a capital N to make it legit. Okay, here's your capital N. Now it's legit. Now we could say that we're Negroes. Those people there know about Moors. And Moor looks just like them, but they're going to call themselves Negro and have a Negro Society for Historical Research, but ask a Moor to be elected into membership of that. Ali contributed articles on African issues to Garvey's Negro World, heading a department on African affairs. The Garveyite hymn and its Islamic wording in the first stanza: Father of all creation, Allah, omnipotent, supreme over every nation, God bless our president. This is Garveyite. I don't hear any Garveyite talking about that they're Muslim. But the Garveyite hymn in the first stanza talk about the Father of all creation, Allah. That's how deep the sellout goes. Right? There's a reason why we're in this position as so-called Negro, black, colored people. All of it isn't the white man did something to us. Majority of it, 80% of it is our own ignorance to facts that are presented in our face every day and we don't want to pay attention to. You know, we want the biggest David Icke thing. When you have a little pamphlet sitting there that you never looked at in like 20 years, and then you read it and you'll see how relative it is to right now. And then you'll say, oh man, I should have read this 20 years ago. Sitting there all the time, right? So Duse Muhammad Ali, again the book, Autobiography of a Pioneer Pan-African and Afro-Asian Activist by Mustafa Abdel Wahid. In 1921, Duse continued his work among Arabs and Indian Muslims in Detroit and Chicago. Michael Gomez, author of Black Crescent, a luminary whose life work may have had greater impact on Noble Drew Ali, was Duse Muhammad Ali. So the greater impact that Duse Muhammad Ali's work had was on Noble Drew Ali, is what this author Michael Gomez is saying. But not Marcus Garvey or none of the black guys. How would a Moor impact a Moor when they're relative in their degree of knowledge? That if Noble Drew Ali and Duse Muhammad Ali were to have a conversation, that's the meeting of the gods. That has nothing to do with anybody else on any lower level that might be part of their group or, and shakes hands with them or whatever the case is. Right? Noble Drew Ali was a Moor, just like Duse Muhammad Ali was a Moor.
That doesn't mean they can't learn from each other.
Granted, but
People learn from each other all the time.
granted, but the perspective that they're putting it in is that the life work of Duse Muhammad Ali, right, had the greatest impact on Noble Drew Ali, which was a fraud. It's impossible because both of them have the same last name.
But
So
why is it fraud?
if Duse Muhammad Ali is a lord, right, and noble and all that, and his name's Ali, and he dresses a certain way, and then they show you a picture of Noble Drew Ali, and he dresses just like Duse Muhammad Ali, the learning that they're getting is only on their level. The learning that they're getting amongst each other has no influence on the people.
What he's saying,
below them.
right? What he's saying is that Duse Muhammad Ali knows he's a Moor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Noble Drew Ali also knows he's a Moor.
Uh-huh.
The Garveyites who follow Garvey call themselves Negroes, right? They asked Duse Muhammad Ali to join their group, to learn from him, because the knowledge is higher, right?
But I'm just saying the argument that like because they're both Moors and
No,
they
that's
have
not what
the
he's
same
saying.
knowledge.
It's a perspective they're putting there. They're making it seem as if
Yeah.
Duse Muhammad Ali influenced Noble Drew Ali, but not
Right.
the Negroes.
Right.
So the Negroes, what's up, I think? So the Negroes know more than him. The Negroes didn't learn from him. Negroes are their own people, but they didn't learn from the Moors. Like, that's a fraud because they're lying. They make it
Okay.
seem as if
Exactly.
the Negroes didn't learn anything.
Exactly.
Because they knew
Okay.
more, they were already,
Yeah, I heard it differently, you know?
No, it's all right. It's all right. But that's what the idea is of it being an open forum. And from the first classes, us teaching that this is not a class where I'm up here and I'm giving you something. This is a class where you're gonna get some information and then you're gonna take your own notes and then you're gonna go home and research and then you're gonna have a bigger, your radar is gonna be a little bit more wide.
I have a comment on that. A lot of it has to do with how we were taught growing up. As I'm talking to my son, trying to learn from him, he's been into this a good while now, and we have like almost arguments because I have the old mindset, right? Whatever I was taught growing up in Scarborough, in North America, I have this mindset, and then as he's explaining things to me, I kind of have to grind him to get the information. Like I take a different interpretation of what I've read than what it should mean. It's not like what you've done here. It's the same kind of deal, right? It's just a different interpretation of what's in front of you because of how we were raised, I think.
Exactly.
For me, that's what it is, anyway.
So Duse's connection with the Ahmadiyya leaders in Chicago and Detroit played an indirect role in introducing Ahmadiyya ideology to African American community. Duse's role could be described as an intermediary between UNIA, of which he was a member, and the Ahmadiyya movement. So he was a member of the UNIA. He belonged to that organization, right? Now, I wouldn't doubt that because of Marcus Garvey being the forerunner, right, of the Moorish movement, which Duse Muhammad Ali would be connected to, but they wouldn't talk about that connection. They'll talk about he's connected to Negro groups and he's a member of this group, but he's not a member of the Moorish Science Temple.
They're trying to separate them. To
Right.
make it seem like Negroes and Moors aren't the same people.
Like they're
Negroes are
different.
Negroes and Moors are Moors.
Right.
And it's just continuing the fraud over and over and over and over again.
A repetitive
All the
theme
time.
of fraud, right? So, Duse Muhammad Ali Amor was a member of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, founded by Marcus Garvey, who was the forerunner of the Moorish movement, right? Duse Muhammad Ali influence on Marcus Garvey. Garvey's slogan, Africa for Africans at home and abroad, was indicative of the pride and dignity he received from Duse Muhammad Ali. Another of Ali's influence on Garvey can be seen in Garvey motto, one God, one aim, one destiny. The one God aspect being akin to the Islamic emphasis on the oneness of God or God's unity. Afro-American newspaper. So, we're not talking about Negro guys. Negro guys, those guys elected Duse Muhammad Ali a member, right? The Garveyites, Pan-Africans or whoever, they had made Duse Muhammad Ali a member, right? So this is the African American label people now, which just like we're saying, they're trying to make it seem like African Americans aren't Negroes, aren't black people, aren't colored people, aren't Moors. They try to make like there's all these separate factions, right? So we're gonna break it down into separate factions then, if that's how they want to look at it. So we talk about the Negro guys. The Negro guys definitely know who a Moor is because they elected a Moor into their organization. And the Garveyites know who a Moor is because the Garveyites leader, founder, worked for the paper of the same Moor that the Negro guys were dealing with. Right?
Is that before basic? Oh yeah, I just remember they knew one another, him and the Noble Drew Ali,
Right.
when they were children.
Right.
So he knew that beforehand.
Right.
Even before that, yeah.
Right. The paper was founded in 1892. So this is the Afro-American newspaper. The paper was founded in 1892 by former slave John H. Murphy Sr. when he merged his church publication, The Sunday School Helper, with two similar publications in Baltimore. Over the years, the newspaper was joined with groups like National Association of the Advancement of Colored People to help promote social change, including desegregation of public schools in the 1950s. October 21st, 1921, the Afro-American newspaper publicized news of Duse Muhammad Ali arrival with a front page picture of Duse Ali. So this is the African-American guys saying that they're going to put a picture of Duse Muhammad Ali on the front page of their paper in 1921 because he was coming to America. So those guys know who Moors are because they had a Moor on the front page of their paper. And why else would they do that? Because he was noble and all the stuff that is said at the back of the book. That all the Dutches and whoever in England recognized Duse Muhammad Ali as. Years before he even came to America. And then that's how he gained his popularity. No different than us saying we're going to call Bobby Hemmett to come here. Because he's popular where he's at. And we're going to say, oh, come here. Right? We pay a fee and then he comes here. Same thing. Right? So the African American people know. Right? So William Henry Ferris, author, minister, and scholar. His grandparents were free at the time of his father's birth. His father joined the Union Army voluntarily at age 17. Mother's father escaped from captivity on a plantation and later purchased the freedom of his wife and children. A graduate of Yale University with a BA, Ferris subsequently took on the role of writer and lecturer. He was a Harvard Divinity School student from 1897 to 1899, graduating Harvard with an MA in journalism in 1900. In 1908, he wrote a book entitled Typical Negro Traits. From 1910 to 1912, he was given charge of the colored missions of AME Zion Church of Lowell and Salem, Massachusetts, as a lecturer at white churches. He went on to write The African Abroad, or His Evolution in Western Civilization, tracing his development under Caucasian milieux in 1913. The African Times and Orient Review published an article contributed by Ferris wherein he praised an article previously contained in the same journal by Marcus Garvey. So this is like another example of somebody who looks just like a Moor, but they're not identifying themselves as that. But they're going to use the Moors in order to Camelback off.